Terry Williamson and I are sitting here after the fact of our flight, or at least our attempt on the south to north route in Michigan. And we've got a little video here. We're going to kind of explain through the trip and show you a little bit about it. So what do you think, Terry?
Yeah, this was quite an adventure. We were actually planning to take a week off, head out to Endless Foot Drag, but as most of you know, with the tornadoes and the bad weather, we decided to try another adventure that we'd been planning and Mike kind of had in his back pocket for a while, and we decided to make our attempt from the south end of Michigan all the way up and land right at Mackinac Bridge.
Can't thank Jack Rathburn enough for being our chauffeur, however you say that word. But thank you so much, Jack. He drove us the whole time and really kind of helped out. And then we called up Mr. Brandon McCloud down from Cincy. He came up to visit us as well, and myself and Terry made an attempt on the state. So here's our show. There's Jack's truck hooked up to the vehicle. We're getting ready to get out of here. Holy shnikes.
So here we are headed down to Angola, Indiana to start the adventure. We actually stayed at the, I believe, Wingate Hotel. Wingate.
No pun.
Which had been open for, I think, a full 2 or 3 days when we got there.
We're the only people there.
Yes.
They brought us breakfast at like 6 or 5 in the morning or whatever.
Very early in the morning. So here we are about to take off, I think about 6 o'clock in the morning, a little bit after.
Yeah.
And just taking off to an amazing sunrise, which you'll see here in a minute. I think Mike is already up in the air. Brandon's about to launch right after me here.
Man, that was just beautiful. That was a run out, though, because we were loaded with fuel. And
we all noticed that, too. We ran a lot longer than normal.
Yeah. Who else? Perry Moulter came out and joined us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Perry. That was nice of you to come out. Surprised to see you.
And there was Brandon taking off, and this is just what we were looking at for the next probably half hour. It was just a beautiful hands-off flight.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't touch the controls for probably 4 legs here. It was just perfect.
Had no idea what we were in store for as we come in, and you see the clouds kind of billowing up and darkening up, and we're flying right into it. Started catching a little bit of a headwind.
Yeah, that was one thing that was a bummer. We were hoping to cover a lot more ground for the first leg, but worked out well. We thought we were going to go about another 15 miles, so in flight we were realizing that Brandon and I were not going to have enough fuel, so in flight we were trying to find a few other alternate LZs and came across, I believe it's Brooksfield and Marshall.
You guys should have EFI.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Maybe
Alex Huff, EFI. Alex Huff, EFI, if you want to go for long distance flights.
Yep, Mike was doing very well on fuel economy. But you can see, I mean, we had just perfect weather here. We were able to fly nice and close and no turbulence.
That was a fantastic morning. First leg couldn't ask for a better morning.
So here we're about to come into Brooksfield and had to stop a little early, like we said, because of the headwind. But it was a great place to launch and land. And at this point, we had the weather coming in on us, so had to take a few hour break and head up to FlyMiPPG.
So we had a little deviation in our plan. Faced this morning with more of a headwind than what we thought it would be. And so instead of moving all the way to Charlotte, we actually stopped at Brooksfield in Marshall. Rain came in, so we decided obviously we weren't going to launch. We waited there for a little while, and we had some motor maintenance to do on both my motor as well as Brandon's. So we just brought it back to FlyMi. We are waiting. It's about 11 a.m. and the storm's clearing through. And so we're going to get back on the road.
Started at 4:30 this morning from Angola, Indiana. Flight takeoff was 6:15. Hour and 45-minute flight to Marshall, which where the rain started. We had a slight engine issue. Drove to FlyMiPPG, fixed the issue. Rain moved out. We're back to Marshall to try to finish the leg up to Mackinac City.
Yeah, buddy.
Wish us luck.
Thank you.
So arrived back at Brooksfield here. The weather is definitely getting nicer. Still a little eerie off in the distance, and we're watching the radar, but it's looking very nice, and we're getting ready to fly.
Yeah, that was taken off into what we thought was clearing out. The radar and everything showed that it was clear and everything was good. But as you will see here, as we're traveling through this flight, the clouds started billowing, and some more storms kind of came in, and I don't know about you. Have you ever had to outrun the weather?
Nope. I've seen rain a few times and decided to turn around and land back at the airport. So we were watching it. It was off in the distance pretty good, but you'll see that in a minute.
So here we are just getting ready to launch, right?
Yep. And this was a great place to come in and land. We even had a few bystanders this time. Mike brought in his personal pit crew to fluff his wing up.
Actually, I think I blew that first launch. I let go of my brake. I lost my brake in my hand.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
Cameraman must not have got that one.
Oh, there it is. Oh no. Okay. At least the video editor didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we all had some good takeoffs. Great place to go there, and that's a nice airport.
Yeah, it was impeccably taken care of. Nice facilities, good FBO, some cool airplanes in there too.
Not quite as cool as that Mac Para Colorado.
I don't know. Look at you, Butta. Look at that buttercup. Brandon McCloud making it look easy. Yeah, that was fun. Look at you guys all doing your foot drag launches, man. Dang, looking good.
Yeah, and I got a good shot of him from the air taking off.
Man, again, we can't thank Jack Rathburn enough. He was there every time we pulled into somewhere, he was right there for us. Right on time, and he was getting video, and then Gene joined us somewhere along this route. I think he came right here. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Gene Parunak. I know I'm saying that wrong. I'm going to butcher it, but that's what happens when you get U's and P's together. But anyways, he's the only gentleman that finished the east-west route, and so he wanted to come along and enjoy this journey with us as well. So.
And this was another great flight. It was completely hands-off. It was smooth and great views.
It was pretty. Everything was green and lush, probably because of all the rain we got. We were thinking we were going to be into spring, but here we sit on December 14th, and it's, 54 degrees out.
Wearing sweatshirts.
Yeah.
So you see here, off in the distance here, you see the rain start building to our west, and not quite yet, but it even gets up to the north, and we had to land. We landed pretty much, about 10 minutes before the rain hit from the north.
I don't know about you, but I got sprinkled on.
Yep, right up here in a minute. We definitely, Brandon and I think Michael's ahead of us a bit, but we started skirting east to avoid that right there.
Yep.
And it was moving east towards us, and we had to slowly keep turning east to get north of it, which we were able to do. It worked out well, but it was close. Brandon and I started losing elevation just in case it hit us. We wanted to be close to the ground and ready to land.
Yeah, I had to do a turnaround and buzz to those guys because I lost comms with them. So I was kind of using comms of receiving a few texts here and there, and I was asking Terry, I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? Are we going to outrun this? And he was like, yeah, let's keep moving forward, and we did. And we got a little bit of sprinkles, but that was about it. Otherwise, we would have put it down real quick. So, and as you can see, there was plenty of room to find an LZ there. So.
Yep, and we were looking for them.
Yeah, we were.
But yeah, that whole time, we were right next to the rain, and it was just hands-off flying, just smooth as can be. I was just very impressed with this whole day. It was fantastic.
Yeah, especially with the weather like that came in, you'd think that you'd get a few more gust fronts and kind of more of the storm in front or on the backside of it, and we really didn't until up a little bit further along the trip, which you'll see here in a minute here. But yeah, so this is coming into RC.
Yep. So at this point we went back to this one of the same stops we did on the west to east trip, Walters RC Park right out of Saranac, and wonderful people there, real happy to see us, and
super welcoming. Dave, I believe is the owner's name. He's a great guy, super dude.
Yeah, and they got a great facility there. You'll see in a minute, big farm, and he runs RC planes and little trucks, and he's got courses built. You can see this is the rain off to our west that we had just pretty much got to the north of at this point, so we were feeling real good and confident we were going to clear.
Look at that shot. I mean, some of these shots here are just unbelievable now that it's coming back, flooding back into memory. Yeah, this is coming down to Walters right here, just past the lake.
We may be sped up here on the video a little bit.
We were going pretty good there, weren't we? 735 miles an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, just beautiful, right by a lake, and the RC Park's right at the north end of the screen here. You see Mike's about to come in and land.
Yeah. I couldn't tell where the wind was. I couldn't find his sock, and I kept looking. I was like, okay, I hope we're good here. I'm going down.
Yep, I luckily found one flag on the lake shore there, and Mike was pretty darn close when he landed, which I failed to get on video.
That's okay. That's okay. The narcissist in me will beat you up, but I'm good. Look at this. How epic is that place? Look at it, manicured. Just awesome. He's got facilities there too, as far as restrooms and that whole kind of picnic area that we hung out with.
Yeah, and we had to kind of avoid the rain again for another 3 or 4 hours here, so he let us keep all our gear right there, and we went in town, got a bite to eat, and it was a wonderful place there.
Yeah. Can't thank Dave enough for being the host that he is. Very hospitable guy.
Yeah, and this was another one where Jack was kind of scrambling, trying to find us alternate LZs if we couldn't make it here because of the rain. We were a little curious if we were going to actually be able to fly far enough north, so he's rolling in right now.
We had just landed and there he is showing up. I mean, how Johnny on the spot is he? Love it.
We even got nice stands for us to put our wings and motors on.
It's the PPG Oasis, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, look at that place.
Yeah.
So how long was that flight? From, I don't even know.
I don't know.
A couple hours?
Probably almost 2 hours at that point, which there's my remaining fuel, not a whole lot. Yeah, it was actually only about an hour and a half.
Gene the Machine! Perfect.
So after having about a 3-hour layover in Saranac, waiting for the rain to once again clear out, we're back at it, and weather's actually looking really nice from here on out.
We think. Yeah, let's go.
But no, we had some great weather for takeoffs. I think everyone nailed their takeoff nice and easy. Yeah. And at this point, we're starting to pick up a little bit of wind, so everything's getting a little easier to do, and we get a very nice tailwind on this section.
I think we got to point out, it behooves us to point out that we never stopped or landed in one of our post or pre-flight choices of our LZs. The weather would come in on us, or we ran on into headwinds, so we ran low on fuel. So we were able to actually pick and choose LZs that we had set up for ourselves as alternates, and there wasn't really one that we ended up staying at that we originally thought we were going to be landing out. So that was kind of a unique thing that.
Yeah, and we're mid-flight trying to make calculations on how far we can fly yet, and in some cases, again, we had to land short, and in multiple cases, we were doing 60 miles an hour, and we pushed past our planned LZ and made it significantly further, which was great.
Yeah.
And this was kind of one of those flights here. We were going to plan on stopping at a different airport, and we ended up doing almost 60 miles an hour this whole leg, and we beat the ground crew, and we picked out a new airport to land at.
Matter of fact, I remember this now. That was just an amazing flight. So we were not only doing 60 miles an hour the entire way, but we were welcomed by these nice little pillowy clouds that were brushing through us. Hey, isn't this where the jet flew under us?
Yeah, Lakeview. Yeah, we had a plane fly under us at about, I don't know if it'll show it in here, but he was probably only about 500 feet off the ground. Well below us, but...
that was one of our planned stops, Lakeview, but we were still loaded in fuel and traveling at 60 miles an hour. We decided to carry on.
So this was one airport that I think I found just searching, looking for a destination further along, and we arrived actually before the ground crew, so we just kind of loitered around for 10-15 minutes, kind of waiting for them to show up, and then we're coming in to land here. I think Brandon's about to touch down. Mike lands almost simultaneously, and then I'm coming in right after. It was a great little airport. I think that was Moscato Morton Airport.
Yep. Yeah, is it Moscato? Maricosta? I don't even know what it was. Macosta? Everything was happening so
Maricosta.
Yeah, you took over the instruments as far as where we were going to fly on that one, and I just said, sure enough, let's go. I'm following Terry in on this one, so picked out a great spot again.
And at this point, it's about 6:40-ish at night, and we knew we had enough time for one more leg, so we didn't waste too much time here. We rested for 15-20 minutes at most, refueled, and got a couple snacks, and got right back up there.
Yeah.
And again, Gene and Jack were both there to just kind of help out and lug some fuel around and make sure we're good. But really, we were doing fine. Everything was working very well.
Red Bull.
It was really easy. A couple Red Bulls here and there, and you're good.
Yeah. We're like, are you sure we want to go another one? We're like, let's do it. Let's do another one. So weather was good. We were good. We did all our self-checks and decided to launch it and take off. Pretty tiring, though, flying that many hours. Some people don't think that it is. I mean, just sitting in a chair, but you got a lot going on, and your head's on a swivel, and you're always thinking about LZs and landing spots and engine outs in case it happens, where you're going to go. And so there's a lot to think about, mentally and physically. It can be pretty draining, but...
And at this point, it really gets very difficult to navigate northern Michigan because it's very trees, very foresty. There are not a lot of outs. We definitely had to change our flight plan to fly along some valleys where we had just barely, as you can see, some outs. Where 50 miles to the east, there we had no outs whatsoever. So we had to kind of go here and there to stay in vicinity of some large farm fields.
Yeah, these flights, I think at least this leg of the flight was the highest I was going with elevation. I had to be up around 4,000 feet around that time. And I'm sure you guys were too, obviously. You got pictures of you up over me. But man, that sun came out.
Yeah.
And it was such a welcome. And that was such a beautiful evening coming into, where was this, Morristown?
Yep, this will be Morristown Airport.
Morristown.
Another one where we beat the ground crew there, I think, by 20-25 minutes. We landed, and I called them to see where they're at, and they couldn't believe we were on the ground already.
Yeah, that was a quick one. Remember we got pretty rocked coming down on this.
Right at as soon as we got down low, that's right, I forgot about that. It was hands off the whole flight, but then as soon as you got down low in here, you were moving around.
We got bounced around a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why I think we just came in and landed right away. That was pretty much it for the evening.
It was funny. As soon as we land, the whole townspeople, I mean, everybody that lived around the airport, all come driving up, and we're so excited to see us. And hey, can we get you a drink? Can we get you a beer? Can we get you, ice water, whatever? And they were just so welcoming. It was like they've never seen us type of aircraft before. They're like, what is that?
And there's me doing a little bit of a Superman on the way in with the bumps.
I didn't see that, dude. I'm just seeing that for the first time.
Kind of wish Jack would have got that one on video. I would have liked to seen it too, but it went pretty smooth for a Superman.
Is this Brandon?
Yep, I think Brandon's coming in now, and you're right behind him.
Yeah, Brandon does a show on Sunday nights called Paramotor Nation. Check it out if you can. He's a great pilot, very knowledgeable, knows his stuff, and as you can see, he
Yeah.
negotiated that pretty well,
Yeah.
despite the bumps. Great.
Yeah, it was a nice little airport, great town. They had a nice little gas station and place to eat there, and we knew we were done for the night, so we just had 2 more legs to go at this point. So we were actually feeling really good. The next day was looking very flyable.
Very doable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we were all excited. We knew that we kind of felt like we've got this. And it was maybe a little bit of overconfidence because of the journey. The legs that we had just had seemed pretty easy and pretty effortless. So, what are we doing, peoples?
We're sharing pictures.
Parawaiting.
How long are we going to have to parawait?
1 more hour.
I mean, he was
Blue
doing full run up when I was
skies.
standing there. That's how slow.
And how long have
this
we been
is.
standing here?
Oh, at least 15, 20 minutes.
What day
now.
is it?
I think we got here, 7 o'clock this morning?
7 o'clock.
And what time is it now?
Probably noon.
Noon,
Noon.
right on the money. Yep.
We're almost ready.
If you want to watch it.
Yeah, we're ready.
This is the widest of the. It could be.
Oh, Lord. Won't you buy me a nice day?
So here we're just waiting for the clouds to clear a little bit more. Still low visibility, so we're starting to see breaks in the clouds, and right here you can start seeing some blue skies, and we're getting ready to launch. And it cleared right up. It turned out real nice. We thought we were actually going to have some nice air, being it was almost a completely cloudy day there. And we get up and find it was a little more rowdy than we were hoping. And unfortunately, if we could have stayed low, we would have been all set. But again, with the forests up there, we had to get up to altitude. We had to be probably 1,500 feet or more to get to some clearings for emergency landings if needed. So we were unable to stay low in the nice air.
Yeah, it was. We got up and it was pillowy clouds and just kind of that epic flight, but it was getting bouncy. And I've had rotator cuff surgery in the past, so I knew that active flying probably wasn't the best for me on this flight. So I knew that we'd have a great tailwind. So I was hoping it would go by fast, but as we were climbing up and getting to where we probably needed to be as far as altitude just to have safe outs, it just really started bouncing us around. I looked over at Brandon and Terry and just watched them yo-yoing up and down and up and down. And at that time, I just realized to myself that it's in my best interest to call it a day. So I decided to go off to the west and look for the best spot where I could put it down, typically near a road. And I found one and did a pass around it just to make sure that there weren't any lines or power lines, and if there were, where they were, and to put it down safely. And I was able to do that, found a road, and there were 0 cars, and I made the decision, put it down, and that's what happened. So 12, I was 15 miles into it in about 38 minutes, so where I decided to end the trip for myself. So
Yeah, and we were hoping to have a lot better tailwind there, but because we had to climb to an altitude, we really started to hit a pretty nasty crosswind, and we weren't making a whole lot of progress, and we kind of had to be trims in and applying brakes, so we weren't making very good headway. But Brandon and I decided to keep going because we were moving, and finally, when we kind of were able to get up to the certain valley, then we were able to head a little more easterly, and we started to pick up speed quite a bit there.
So I know how it was for me. Tell me a little bit about your guys' experience as you had another hour and a half ahead of you.
Yeah, Brandon and I think, kind of had the same thoughts in our head. I kept looking at him going, well, are you ready to land? Are you feeling good? And, we're just doing some hand signals back and forth, trying to read each other's minds. And we were doing good. We were getting bumped around, but I never took anything more than say a 30 or 45 degree change in direction at most. And those were pretty rare, but it was definitely bumpy and, spicy. We were applying some brake to try and smooth it out, and then I'd go hands off for a couple minutes, and then all of a sudden just kind of get hit with a big lift or a big turn, and kind of go back on to applying some brake and really smoothing it out. And at this point, Brandon's running pretty low on fuel, so I kept tucking in behind him and trying to look at his fuel and judging how much distance we got. That's Boyne Mountain right there in the distance. We're going to land just to the northeast of there. And I think right about here, Brandon, we're still looking for outs because we're concerned about him running out of fuel. And he notices we were going to land at the airport, but he notices the big field right over there to the right, just past it, and a little further away from the hill, so a little less rotor.
Smart move.
Yeah, so that was a real good call from him because, I was just focused on the airport. That was my goal, and I really, unfortunately to say, didn't notice the big field out there, so kudos to him, and this is us trying to come in for a landing, and boy, I tell you, we just stayed up there. we
couldn't come down.
Yeah, we were coming down really slow, but
thermals popping.
Yeah, we'd come down and then all of a sudden get lifted right back up, and it was relatively smooth lift ups, nothing violent, but we were just kind of floating there. And you see, I think both of us came in and did power landings because we just kind of randomly got caught in a little sink there, and one of the few times where I actually land with power on in my motor, and I definitely use it. I was probably a third power when I landed, and worked out pretty good, and Brandon had a nice landing here as well. But we were both, honestly happy to be on the ground. It was nothing that we felt was ridiculously unsafe by any means, but it was just starting to get to be a little unpleasant and just constantly on the controls, and that's when it really started to get exhausting.
Just coming in, yeah, you're almost hovering.
Yeah.
And then, boop.
I mean, just a couple steps forward.
Yeah.
Or backwards.
Yeah, that wind was kicking. Wow.
Yeah, and at this point, we pretty well knew we weren't going to be able to fly for the rest of the day because the winds were just picking up. We were hoping for an evening flight, but even that, the winds picked up to 20, I think almost 30 miles an hour.
Right.
And at this point, we're only one leg away from landing at the Mackinac Bridge. But
seems to be our thing.
Yeah. But we knew we just couldn't do it safely, so we got as far as we could, and it was an epic trip, that's for sure.
Nice job there too, coming down nice and soft and controlling it with that much wind and stuff. You gotta be cognizant of what you're doing, otherwise you're gonna get towed and kind of drive through there. But you guys did a great job, and look at that. I mean, that's what time of the day is that right now? You think?
That was probably about 1 o'clock, or probably more like 2 or 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we launched around 1:30 or something.
Yeah.
Middle of the day flying, peeps. But
yep,
it worked.
Brandon, has been through an SIV course. He's put out videos on that. I was running my reserve. I usually never leave without it now. I just see no point in not having it.
Yeah. No, it was safe. I mean, it was certainly. You guys never got yourself into a situation where it was even considering throwing reserve.
You can see his fuel just barely sloshing around down there.
Look at that! Look at that! Wow.
Yeah, he was almost running on fumes.
Dang, dog! You need a 5-gallon tank and an EFI.
Yeah, we're all pretty jealous of Mike during all this.
Oh,
with his 5-gallon gas tank. That's definitely on the list to purchase for next year.
Dude, I had 3 donuts and 2 Cheetos driving in a cool rig with both Gene and Jack, keeping me entertained. But good job, you guys. That was awesome, man.
Yeah, it was just a great adventure, man. I mean, all of us worked real well together. It was awesome that Brandon came up. He had a 5-hour drive just to get up here.
Yeah.
And Jack for driving once again. Just awesome.
What's next?
Gene. What's next? We got to finish one of these.
Yeah, I know we do. Jeez, 45 miles or 50 miles out. We missed the east-west, and now, 30 miles to the Mackinac Bridge?
Yeah.
Those are bitter pills to swallow.
Hopefully this fall we'll be able to get one of these finished. But, even when they're not finished, it was so much fun.
Such a good experience.
It was amazing.
I don't know about you, but made me a better pilot just from everything that we've done together, and stuff like that. So.
And learning how to change on the fly. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it. Appreciate all the help from both Gene and Jack again, and Brandon coming up, and Terry putting this together. So thank you so much.
Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it.